welcome to the Candid Conversation show. It's me, Coach Stacy, right here on 108 Praise Radio, where we voice the gospel. I'm excited this morning.
I am too.
Come on, let's get excited.
Girl, hallelujah. Okay, let me share this video first.
I know that's right. Share the video. So, I'm excited this morning. I welcome all of you listeners, all you viewers. Welcome on this beautiful Saturday. And we are in the studio with my guest, Shanta Prince, and we're going to talk to her this morning. Hey,
let's
Miss
get it,
Shanta.
girl.
Yes. And we're going to check out all the great things that she has going on. But first, I want to talk a little bit about my weekly asking for a friend topic that I had posted on social media. Okay. The question was, is it appropriate for a father to talk with their daughter about the birds and the bees? If you are out there listening and want to chime in, give us a call, 770-988-6461. Is it appropriate for fathers to talk to their daughters about the birds and the bees? Miss Prince, what do you think?
Oh, that's a good question. But I will answer the question like this, because I really can't speak in general for all fathers. Because I don't know all fathers. All fathers are not the same.
Right.
However, in my house, because of the type of man that my husband is,
yes,
it is perfectly okay for him to speak to his daughter about the birds and the bees. And the reason why is because my husband is the primary teacher in our house. And he teaches my daughter the scriptures. He teaches her how to be safe. He teaches her how to dial 911, how to, call the parents when it's an emergency time. So because my husband is the primary teacher, it is perfectly okay for him to talk to her about the birds and the bees. And considering, I heard, I think it was Lisa Bevere. One of the things, I heard her speak one day, and she said, the father is the protector of purity.
That's good.
And when she said that, I thought about how so many people, especially young women growing up without fathers, I thought about how I was growing up, and how I was around my mother was not the same way I was around my father.
Right.
When I was around my mother, I would try it. I would try to get away with little stuff. But when I was around my father, because he had a different presence, I was a little bit afraid to try certain things, because I'm like, Daddy is not going to go for that.
He's not playing.
If Mama was around, I might try to sneak out and see boys. But if Daddy was around, I'm not playing with Daddy like that.
Right.
But when she said the father is the protector of purity, I said I get that, because I feel like when I'm around my father, I feel like certain things I'm just not gonna do.
Right.
Because of his presence and because of his role in my life. And my husband is the same
way.
the same way. So in my house, I say yes, it's perfectly okay for my husband to talk to our daughter about the birds and the bees.
Okay, that's good. I was actually trying to pull up some of the comments that I had got on there, and I pulled some of them up, and majority of the people are saying yes, it's mandatory. Yes. But honestly, I believe that it depends on how the family structure is set up. It just really depends on how the family structure is set up. I mean, some people don't have a father in their home to even do that.
That's very true.
And then
right about it.
I really want to touch on the fact that if you're around my age group, when we were coming along, parents didn't talk to kids about anything. I mean, we just got to keep it real. They didn't. It was do as I say. That's it. Don't do as you see. Do as you told, and that's it. You didn't talk about the people. I'm not knocking that generation. Right. I know in this day and time, we are now open to more communication. We're communicating more. Everybody's communicating. We're talking to our kids. We're teaching them different things. But at the time period I came along, that didn't happen. It just didn't happen. So I'm just like, is it okay? And then I have a past of sexual trauma.
Absolutely.
So even though, I mean, you wouldn't think a father would do something to their daughter, but a person who has a past of sexual trauma, you do think about the fact, and then you think, okay, I shouldn't be having a baby with someone if I can't trust them, but at the same time, that still crosses your mind. So it's a really deep topic.
It is a deep topic. I actually have experience with working with women and men who experience sexual trauma. So I do understand why some people would fear allowing the man to step in and have this conversation.
Right.
And it's because of, humanity in general. We're broken. We're broken people. We all need Jesus.
Yes, Lord.
And so,
yes.
And so because of that, because of our fallen nature, things happen that shouldn't happen, And so I do understand how some people may have that where it's like, okay, we got to set some barriers and, this can happen. And that's why I was saying, like what you said, it depends on the structure of the family.
Thanks for sharing that with us. Also, I wanted to go into really quick the trending topic. And it's kind of trending right now. I saw before I came into the studio this morning that there was an incident in California. 2 mental health workers were killed by a former U.S. soldier at a California veterans home where a psychologist who treated veterans with PTSD. And there was also a third victim, the program's executive director, that just came over. But the Pathway Home program at the county's largest veterans home in Yountville, California, said in a statement Friday that there were 2 mental health therapists that were killed in the situation. And I just really wanted to bring that up real quick because PTSD is really, really big, and I think people overlook it so much. And with us both being veterans, which I'm going to get into her bio really soon, but we both being veterans, I thought that was a really big topic to bring up to talk about this week. What do you think about that?
I definitely think that, it's just like what you said, especially with us both being veterans. I think that PTSD is something that's generally overlooked for the veteran community. And I think it would be wonderful if there was more understanding about PTSD and the causes of PTSD, and just more awareness and more knowledge. I feel like I'm a teacher, so I feel like knowledge is the answer to a lot of the issues that we face. And just being, and just like what you're doing now, spreading knowledge and bringing people on and educating people. But I definitely feel like knowledge would be a great addition to bringing light to the struggles that veterans face when it comes to PTSD.
Yes, and I don't think people realize that. Big struggles. Big struggles. Okay, well, we still want to continue to talk about that question. If you want to chime in, do fathers, is it appropriate for them to talk to their daughters about the birds and the bees? Give us a call, 770-988-6461. I'm going to take a real quick break right quick. When I come back, I'm going to introduce you formally to Miss Shanta Prince and allow her to share with us what she's got going on. We'll be right back.
JF.
Swear I ain't never been homeless, so that ain't something I'ma talk about. Swear I don't own no foreign, so that ain't something I'ma talk about. Swear I ain't never been gangster, so that ain't something I'ma talk about. But I know I've always been blessed, so you know I gotta take time just so I can talk about it. Whoa! Knee deep in this grace, you know that I'ma talk about it. I'm flexing with this fade, you know that I'ma talk about it. Brown and yellow way, you know that I'ma talk about it. No matter what they say, you know that.
Welcome back to Candid Conversation with Coach Stacy. I am Coach Stacy, here today to bless you with my presence today. And my beautiful guest, you are watching 108 Praise Radio, or listening to 108 Praise Radio, where we voice the gospel. And as I said, I have Miss Shanta Prince in here, but before I read you her bio, because I got to read it, because it's just such an amazing bio. I got to read it. I can't leave nothing out. But don't forget today's topic. If you have any tips or nuggets to drop on this topic, please call in, chime in. Is it okay for fathers to talk to their daughters about the birds and the bees? 770-988-6461. And now we have Miss Shanta Prince, the beautiful Shanta Prince. Like I said, I got to read her bio. I got to read it off the paper because she is amazing. She is a gifted teacher and a compelling speaker with a delivery style that is informative, inspirational, and influential. She is an online branding and marketing strategist, helping business women to develop a clear brand message using social media to increase brand awareness and launch digital products and coaching programs. Shanta is the creator of the programs The Profit Blueprint, by which she teaches her students how to create and launch their own programs. She provides daily business tips, training, and inspiration to thousands of followers via her social media channels daily. And she has helped new and seasoned women entrepreneurs and ministry leaders use the power of social media to launch personal brands, sell out books, get playing kinds, and sell digital products. See, I told you she's amazing. She is a proud Navy veteran. She served 10 years on active duty as an information systems technician and gained the computer and technical skills that she currently uses to help her clients to quickly and easily set up the systems that they need to grow their businesses. She is a woman of faith in Christ and has served in various roles of ministry leadership for more than 12 years. She has ministered at churches, women's ministry events, and prophetic training events. Shanta is passionate about teaching. She's passionate about teaching about prayer, prophecy, and the kingdom of God, and she's known for ministering prophetically. She has also helped ministry leaders with marketing, community events, and personal branding. She's a credentialed life coach and a graduate of Kingdom School of Ministry. She has earned both an associate's and a bachelor's in computer studies, a BS in psychology, and a master of divinity in practical theology. She loves doing life with her husband and 2 children and believes that her most important roles are being a wife and mom. Didn't I tell you that bio was amazing? I had to tell y'all all that because she is amazing. Amazing. She's a very, as I said, she has a very impressive bio, and I'm honored to have her here on the show today. I know that you are the bomb. And you can definitely give insight to all of the listeners and viewers today. And we're going to tackle a couple of issues today, being a businesswoman, a little bit on that, and a little bit on relationships. Okay. Because, guys, let me tell you something about Shanta. She met her husband in 2 weeks, and they was married. No, wait a minute. They got engaged in 2 weeks, and they was married in 4 months. And they have now been married for 14 years. So we're going to let her tell us what the secret is. But we're not going to talk about that right now. First, we're going to get into business, okay? Shanta is, she's also a really good friend of mine, and she spoke at one of my conferences on last year, and she tore the roof off, and it was amazing.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being there. I'm still honored to have you in my presence, but I want to kind of tackle the introverted businesswoman.
Okay.
Because you are an introvert.
Absolutely.
But you have such class.
Thank you.
You're so elegant. Thank you
so much.
And you have such confidence when you're speaking. How do you mix that? Because a person an introvert, they like scared to talk to people sometimes. How do you tackle that introvertness and being a powerful businesswoman?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. That's a really good question. And by the way, Stacy talks about how much I'm the bomb. This lady is the bomb, and I just needed to put that out there. She is an amazing woman, and she is a powerhouse of energy, and I'm so glad to be here because her energy gives me more energy. But, okay, so we're talking about introverted businesswomen. Okay, I am a true introvert, okay? But I do love speaking, and I love teaching. And I've spoken in groups of hundreds of people, and I love it. And so people tend to think that because they see me speaking and they see me, doing live videos and stuff like this, a lot of people mistake me for an extrovert.
I'm here to tell you she's not an extrovert, okay?
But here's the thing.
I know.
Here's the thing. Okay, so when we say introvert, what introvert means, introvert does not mean shy. And I think a lot of people think that introvert, when you say I'm an introvert, it means I'm shy. What it means is an introvert is a person who needs to be alone to recharge. That's basically, and so that's how it can get confused with being shy. Because even though I love speaking, I love talking to people, I love to teach, but when that's over, I need to go and retreat. And I need to be alone to recharge. Now, extroverts, on the other hand, when they get around people, they get lit, they light up. You know?
Yeah.
That's
me.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So introverts draw their energy from like being around other people, but extroverts draw their energy from being alone in a quiet time. But I'm not going to say that it's probably true that some introverts are shy, but not all introverts are shy, because that's not really what it means.
That's what an introvert is.
Exactly.
Right. That's right.
And so let me tell you about some secrets that introverts have when it comes to being powerful business people. The fact that we enjoy time alone gives us time to focus. It gives us time to think. And a lot of times, a lot of introverts are really great writers too, because you don't mind being alone and locked in a room. But extroverts may be like, look, I need to get some air. I need to see.
Yeah, I got to see some people.
You may have to force yourself, if you're an introvert, you may have to force yourself to sit down and write that book. But introverts, we have a lot of alone time, and we really get energized by just being quiet and having time to think. Yes. And that's how you put things together, and that's how the ideas come, because you draw away from the world, you draw away from social media, and then you just kind of retreat, and you're able to focus, and you're able to think, and you're able to get things done.
Amazing.
So that's my secret.
I'm glad you shared that, and you clarified a lot of things, because when people hear introvert, the first thing they think about is I'm shy. They don't know what to say or do, and it is a lot about the alone time. And I emphasize, she's a true introvert, but I respect that, and I like that about her, because then when she comes out in all her full glory, and she's powerful. And like you said, you just need that alone time to recharge, and
Absolutely.
That's the key. Amazing. Okay, so the next question I have: you currently have several programs, and I know you cater to mompreneurs, and you boldly teach in the ministry. How do you tie your business into ministry?
That's a really, really great question. Here's the thing. It's not separate.
That's good.
A lot of people try to separate business and ministry. For some people, their business is their ministry. And so what I do is I'm just true to who I am. I'm a woman of faith. And I was just talking to my husband about this the other day. I'm not necessarily a Christian businesswoman, meaning I don't just serve Christian women. Right. I am a businesswoman who happens to be a Christian. And so because of that, I am boldly who I am. And if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see me talking about God. You'll see me posting about prayer. Then you see me posting about download this freebie to help you launch your brand. Right. And I feel like that's a part of even the whole theme of this show, voicing the gospel. Christ is in me. God lives in me. And so when I stand up and walk in my purpose, and when I am who I am voicing the gospel, because I'm glorifying God by using the gifts that he put in me.
That's right.
When I'm serving people, I'm glorifying the Lord, because that's how he gifted me. That's right. And so for some people, I think the reason why so many people think that ministry and business have to be separate is because we're thinking about the church. And see, you think about the four walls of the church and how, okay, when you're in church, you're preaching, but when you're doing business, you're doing business. But really, it's not separate, because when I'm flowing in my gifts, I am preaching. When I'm telling you to be joyful, I'm preaching. When I'm telling you that Christ lives in me, and this is where I get my strength, and this is where I get my ideas, I'm preaching. That's right. And so being who we are is one of the best ways that we can give glory to God. That's right. And that is not being ashamed to say, hey, look, I love the Lord. I'm a woman of faith, and I love Jesus, but I can help you get your life right with Christ, and I can help you grow your business. That's right. That's right. That's good. So it should not be, we don't have to separate it. That's right. We can, it's life. And God wants to be involved in our lives and in our businesses, not just in when we go to church on Sunday, but he wants to be in our lives and in our business. And I was just talking about this on my Facebook Live video before I came in here, and I was talking about how when I do business events, I prophesy to people, because that's my gift. That's right. And if I'm helping you with your business, the Lord shows me things prophetically, and I can say, nope, this is what you need to do over here, because this is what I'm seeing. And it usually resonates with the person, like, oh, I didn't see it that way. But it's because I don't just use my gifts in the four walls of the church. I use my gifts, my God-given gifts, in my business. And it helps me to help the women who I serve to, I can see a woman's purpose, and I can see her gifts, and I can help her to put it into a brand.
That's right.
That makes an impact in the marketplace. And so it's really, it's not separate at all. And that's how I operate, you know, it's my life. That's right. It's my purpose. And that's what I'm sharing with the world.
That's good. That is so good. Woo, she done blessed my spirit over here. Woo, okay. Yes. Next question, honey. You went from a woman in boots to a woman in business. Let's talk about that journey.
Ooh, it's tough.
And I can imagine. And I want to talk about that journey because, of course, you know, I was a woman in boots, too. Right. I know my arches is still trying to fall after the combat things. But I'm
telling you. And we both are wearing high heels.
High heels.
We went from boots to high heels.
Stilettos. So I know that journey is not easy. You know, I've been out. It's going on almost 2 years. And that first year, well, I can't even talk about it. As you can see, I got quiet because I just like, oh my goodness. Let's talk about that journey. How was that for you?
It was a tough journey. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And it's because I joined the Navy directly from high school, and I did 10 years in the Navy. So I kind of grew up in the Navy. I became a woman in the Navy. And so I made the decision to transition out of the Navy because I had these big dreams, and I wanted to use my gifts in a different capacity. But I really had an amazing career, and I actually love the Navy. I love it. But I had to choose between following my dreams or staying in the Navy, and I chose to get out. And so the first year that I was out, I struggled. And the way that I describe it is I call it an identity crisis. Because you go from being in the military and you're wearing the same uniform as everybody else. You have to wear your hair a certain way. You got on the same kind of boots as everybody else. You're standing in ranks with everybody else, and everybody looks the same. That's right. But when I got out, I had to stand on my own. That's right. And that was the struggle in finding out who is Shanta without the uniform. Yes. And so the biggest struggle was finding out who I am without the uniform. And so going from being told what to do, when to do, how to do it, to very simple things like knowing what to do when you wake up in the morning. Some people may take that for granted. That's right. Knowing what to do when you get up in the morning seems very simple. But for me, when I got on the ship, I went and we had what's called the plan of the day. The plan of the day said, this is what time breakfast is. This is what time training is. So everything was already laid out for me. And all I had to do was get with the program. That's right. That's it. But when I got out, I didn't have that. And so I had to figure out, okay, what should I do with myself? That's right. What am I going to do today? You know, and so it may seem very simple for other people, but it was a real struggle. So I didn't know what my gifts were because I was accustomed to doing what needed to be done. That's right. Whether I liked it or not, you know, because you know how we do. It don't matter if you like it. We're going to get the job done. And so when I transitioned out, I kept saying, I don't even really know what I like to do. I don't know what I really enjoy. Right. I don't even really know what I'm good at, because some things, when you're in the military, you just got to be good at everything. Everything. It don't matter what. Right. Just so you got to, whatever it is, that whatever challenges come your way, you got to get it done. And that's how we rolled in the military. That's exactly. And so when I got out, I kept saying, well, what do I really enjoy doing? I had to sit down and think about it. And the way that I found it out was from a life coach. So Coach Stacy has a lot of value. She can help you get your life right, honey. But when I was getting credentialed to become a coach, part of the process was that I had to be coached. And so through that process, I started to put the pieces together. And it was a very vulnerable process because the coach who trained me is an amazing coach. And he started drawing things out of me that I didn't know were in me. But that's what a good coach does. They can draw stuff out of you. That's right. That you didn't even know even existed. So you're like, no, that's not the problem. Right. And I'm looking at you like, yeah, it's the problem. Exactly. So he drew the things out of me, and it helped me to start putting the pieces together. And that's how I discovered that I really love teaching, and I enjoy teaching. And the day that I figured out that I could actually teach and make money doing it, I sat in the class and I was in tears. And I said, I knew that I found the answer I knew that this is why I got out, because I had just figured it out, because I've been struggling for almost 2 years, and at that moment I figured it out. I was like, this is the reason why I got out. This is how I'm going to live my purpose and make a living doing it, because a lot of people can't do that because they have to make a living, so they have to choose, okay, am I going to work my job or am I going to do what I really want to do? Well, I have to pay the bills, so they stick with the job. And so when I found out that I could make my purpose my job, I cried, because I was like, thank you, Lord. This is the answer. This is what I've been looking for. So exactly. It was a tough journey.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said something about the identity crisis, because I myself had that same identity crisis. I started my business before I got out. So before I got out, I had all the help in the world that I needed to run a successful business. And when I first got out, I couldn't call up one of my soldiers and be like, I need you to go set up this room. I'm about to have an event. I couldn't call a soldier and be like, I need some help over here. You know, because we just do what we're told in the military. It don't matter what it, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. You just go get it done. And so I had to learn a whole lot of things all over again. Oh, who am I? My business was so tied into the military that I had to learn who I was without that. So that identity crisis. So it took me a minute. I think I'm on the right road this time.
It took me a minute too.
Kind of a lot of suffering. Ooh, Lord.
Suffering and choosing the wrong fields to go into, you know,
Yes, a lot of things. So yeah. And I've also heard you mention before that veterans are equipped to be the best entrepreneurs. Why do you feel that way?
I believe that veterans are equipped to be the best entrepreneurs because of the style of living that we're accustomed to.
The discipline.
Discipline is not new to us.
Not at all.
When I started boot camp, there was no gradual. It was everything was hit with you at once, and you would be amazed at how resilient you are.
That's right.
Your mind and your body is when you're put in situations where you have to get it done and you have to get through the situation. And so there was no, okay, well, tomorrow I'm gonna start waking up at 6, and then 3 weeks later I'm gonna start working out, and then I'm gonna start eating healthy 6 weeks later. No, everything was right. They hit you with everything at once. So you're waking up at 6 o'clock, you're working out, and you're eating breakfast, and by 8 o'clock you're ready to go to your first class, while most people are still sleeping. We done all kind of things before 9 o'clock in the morning. Then you had done all day long. Exactly. So having discipline is not something that's new to us, and this is something I preach all the time, even at home. I'm always talking about discipline and how most people will never reach their goals because they won't discipline themselves enough to accomplish the goal.
That's right.
And in order for you to be extraordinary, to go from ordinary to extraordinary, discipline is that road. And if you're not willing to put forth the work that it's going to take to accomplish the thing, it's going to be a struggle.
Struggle and a half.
And so that's the number one reason. Discipline is not new to us. Another thing is that veterans, we're accustomed to dealing with whatever we have, working with whatever we have. And so some of us can do more with less. We can do more than some people who have more. And we can take a little bit and make it into a lot because that's just what we had to do, you know? It's like, listen.
Especially if you're enlisted. And you just brought me to a conversation I had with my OIC at one time. I was the NCOIC of a company, and he was telling me some stuff to do, and he was telling me how to do it. So I went and did it, and I did it my way. Because as an enlisted soldier, we go get stuff done. We just get it done. We don't worry about the logistics and all of those things. We find a way to make it happen, and we just make it happen. And he came back and he said, "Ooh, Sergeant Bryant, you did that and you did that fast. I was going to tell you to do it this way." I said, he said, "You know what? Never mind. Never mind. You enlisted soldiers, y'all just go get it done.
We just get it done.
We just get it done. We just get it done." You know, so yeah, you're right.
So that same approach we take to business and saying, listen, I may not see, that's an advantage that we have because we talked about earlier how when you're in the military, whether you like the job or not, you got to get the job done. So in entrepreneurship, there's some things that as the CEO or as the business owner, there's some things that you have to do that you just don't like to do.
That's right.
Maybe you don't like writing emails. Maybe you don't like marketing, or but with the mindset, you know what, I don't really like this, but I'm gonna get it done. And so it kind of gives us an advantage because we're used to doing that anyway. So it's like, you know what, I don't really like doing this, but I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
And so I think that many of us have that. Once we find out where we are supposed to be, I think that any veteran can really rock it being an entrepreneur. Once we know the gifts that we have, we're already ahead. We already understand how to do things in excellence. And another thing, too, that I noticed, when I first got out of the military, I was like, civilians be late for everything. Like, you know, like, listen, if you could just show up on time. Because, you know, in the military, if you were late, it was a big deal. Like, you could miss ship's movement. The ship has gone and gotten underway. You can
ruin your life for being late,
exactly.
Okay? You can ruin your whole
somebody else's life. So
I noticed that
just being on time, it puts you ahead, you know. So
that's funny that you say that, because I was just thinking about that the other day. I told someone I was going to meet them, and they weren't there, and 45 minutes passed. Right. I was like, oh my God, they could not have been in the military, because it would not have went down like that.
You would make it.
Yes. So I do have one more business question. Absolutely. What does it mean to be a woman business owner in the world today, to you? What does it mean to you? And today, you just think about, you know, previous past, the hard road paved for us to come along and be able to do the things that we do now. What does it mean to you?
It means a lot of things. The first thing about being a woman in business is that, and you know, this is funny that you're asking this question, because when I first started my business, I kept asking, why do they have a separate category for women entrepreneurs? And I was like, I don't understand. Like, why are we not just entrepreneurs? Why is it separate? Why is it that women entrepreneurs is separate from? And then I started to understand some things. That, for example, when my husband gets up in the morning and he goes to work, he gets up, he gets dressed, and he's out the door, okay? Because that's just the way that our house is set up. So there's nothing in between him and his work, because everything else I got on lock, okay? But if I wanted to get up and go to work, I'm thinking about other stuff. He's thinking about being a provider. I'm thinking about, oh, do the kids have clothes? Are the lunches ready? Oh, this one needs a hair comb. So I'm thinking about different things that are in between me and business. And so because of that, I love how womenpreneurs have taken these lifestyle businesses, and they have basically made business a lifestyle. And so if I'm doing a live video, I did a live video on my Facebook page a few weeks ago. And my 3-year-old son was in the backseat snoring. So I said, I'm gonna do a live video so I can talk to my followers and my supporters. And I'm just going to put in the parentheses, ignore the 3-year-old snoring in the backseat. Why? Because this is life. It's a lifestyle. And we are women, and we are business owners. And so I kept going. And you know what? They didn't care that he was snoring in the backseat. They were like, we want to know they just want to know what I have to say. Exactly.
Give us the good.
And so, but I think there's an authenticity that comes with that. Because when people see, okay, she's a mom and she's still running her business, it lets people know that, listen, you know, it's not just about business. It's a whole lifestyle.
That's right.
It's a way of living, and it's a way you have to learn how to bring your family and the rest of your life into your business.
That's right.
And live it out. And so, and I feel like it's powerful what women are doing. When we can hold down, when we can make money, and we can take care of the kids, and we can make sure our spouses are good for those of us who have them. We generally work, most women, we're not just working in business. So let's say you do 4 hours a week in your business, and that is possible. You could run a successful business with 4 to 5 hours a week. But that's work. But then you have time where you're preparing food. Then you have time where you're doing laundry. Then you have time with your kids where you're helping them with their schoolwork. So the work continues. So it doesn't just stop, and that's why it has to be a lifestyle. So for me, I feel like today being a woman in business is about having a lifestyle where you can still be a mom, you can still be a wife, and you can be a business owner.
Amazing. Isn't she amazing, everybody? She is amazing.
Thank you.
Just got me over here not knowing what to say. Amazing. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. I really appreciate that. We're going to go pay a few bills when we come back. Is it appropriate for fathers to talk to their daughters about the birds and the bees? Okay, if you're out there listening and want to chime in, give us a call, 770-988-6461. And we're also going to talk to Shanta about how she met her husband. Got engaged in 2 weeks, got married in 4 months, and been married for 14 years. We'll be right back.
You know, they say it's real important Jesus was born in the manger, right? True. And they say it's even more important that he died on the cross. That was important too. But I find it most important that he got up. Yeah, he got up.
When we thought it was all lost, Jesus took it to the cross. Now I got eternal life, 100% off. That's God. Now that's love. That's God. That ain't love. And I was headed for hell, but guess what? He got up. He died and got up. He died and got up. Look what he did for us when he died and got up. He died and got up. He died and got up. It was nothing but love when he died and got up. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This right here is the story of Jesus of Nazareth in his fabulous times of glory. And things he's done for me, I promise I won't be boring. Let's start with the beginning, we'll get to the ending shortly. Born in the manger, wonder why he came for. Jesus, Jesus, why they give him that name for?
But never stop letting the light of Jesus shine. I'm determined to pass through these tests and trials. I'm focused on my destiny and what God has for me. Been through the valley, been through the fire, been to the mountain, walked through the flood. But through it all, I'm standing stronger. God was there all along. Been through the valley, been through the fire, been to the mountain, walked through the flood. But through it all, he carried me, and now I'm finally free. Oh, faith to purpose. I'm going from
let's get it. Making boss moves. That was his ticket. Till I got the call. I felt I lost it all. A mama broken hearted. A family feeling lost. Having faith, you see. We put our trust in God. We got deep. Long live the boss. He's got his angel wings and a fresh start. From pain to purpose, I got a new heart.
I'm determined. From pain to purpose, focused on destiny. I survived it all. I survived it all. From pain to purpose.
And we are live. Welcome back to Candid Conversation. Whew. today has been a glorious day. Listen, it's me, Coach Stacy, back with you. Candid Conversations with Coach Stacy. We are on 108 Praise Radio, where we voice the gospel. I have my beautiful guest here today, Miss Shanta Prince, and she's been sharing with us all about her journey. She is an amazing entrepreneur. You're trying to get your business right, your social media together, and all that other good stuff in between. Hit my girl up, okay? But I want to get juicy right now, though, because you know how I am about relationships, y'all. Y'all know I like talking about relationships, okay? But before I tackle that, we have a statement. Let me see. From a young girl to a grown woman, you are still beautiful and a talented lady.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
Amazing.
so that is when I was growing up, my best friend, she lived right across the street from me, and that's her mom.
Oh, amazing.
Thank you, Miss Crystal.
Amazing.
So she see me go from the little thing to what I'm doing now.
Are
yes.
now. Amazing, amazing. Okay, so like I said, I'm ready to get juicy, honey, because, you know, I need a little relationship advice. Every coach got a coach, trust me. We ain't coaching by ourselves.
Amen to that.
But she met her husband and got engaged in 2 weeks. They was married in 4 months and now have been married for 14 years. Let's talk about that. I mean, let's just talk about how the first time, you know what, y'all, she said when she first laid eyes on him in church, she knew that was her husband. Let's talk about that. That's deep.
Okay, so I do want to say this, that when I saw him, I knew that he was my husband, but it wasn't like a thirsty like thing. It wasn't like, that's my husband, I need to. Because when I saw him in church, I didn't talk to him for a good 6 to 8 months.
Oh, wow.
I was not seeking him out. I was not pursuing him or chasing him down. Just something in me, I just knew that was my husband. And so when I saw him, I said, that's my husband. And after that, I would see him from time to time, but I never really would, go up to him and approach him.
Right.
So it was just there was a patience that was with me when I saw him. So I didn't feel like I needed to rush or I need to hurry up and go talk to him, but there was just this peace and there was a patience.
Wow. I just don't know what to say about that, That's amazing. I know you guys, you did a wonderful Facebook Live video on Valentine's Day, and you both were there, and he is so amazing. I mean, he supports his wife wholeheartedly.
He does.
But this is the Candid Conversation Show.
jokes and laughing that 3 hours had passed and we're like, well, we didn't even turn on the TV. We've just been sitting on the couch talking. So I think communication, talking a lot with each other, not only does talking, it keeps the lines of communication open, but it also helps you to get to know each other on deep levels. That's right. And you're always talking, and you learn things about people when they talk. And so talking to each other gives you a better understanding. And so instead of, getting upset about things, because you know the person, you can say, oh, I know he probably meant to do this, or he probably meant to do it like that. Or when he says certain things, instead of saying, well, why do you say that, or what, it's like, oh, he didn't mean, I know what he meant to say. And it's because we know each other so well that we don't even really argue about anything. Because we have a great understanding of each other. But I feel like putting God first is really, really important, because I said this before, one person always has to humble themselves. At least one person in a relationship has to be willing to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to put my ego to the side, because my ego is telling me I need to prove my point, or I need to be right, or I need to clap back at you. So I'm going to humble myself and put my ego to the side. So neither one of us have problems, doing that when it comes to certain things, which very rarely comes up. We don't really have arguments, or what some people call heated fellowships. But we just kind of have an understanding of each other. And here's the thing. When you guys see me doing my business and being this powerful businesswoman and running my business, when I'm at home, I'm Mrs. Prince. And that means my husband has the final say. If I say, well, I think we should do it like this, and he says, well, we should do it like this, he'll think about he'll consider what I'm saying. And if he thinks my way is better, we'll go my way. But if he still wants to stand on his way, then I go with his way. And so there's no, well, it's just like, okay, we're going to go with what you're saying, because we know if it doesn't work, God's got us. That's right. And so he trusts me and I trust him. So if we're doing it his way, I'm like, okay, it's going to be good, because God is with us. And God honors that when you can be united in your ideas, in the direction that you're going. God honors that. That's right. And so the presence of God will be with you when you can walk in unity and have that understanding and that respect for each other. That's right. That's
right. And you made this comment before. You said, oh, what was that you said? Knowing that there are seasons in marriage. Yes. I think, with the divorce rate being so high, I think we get to a season and people are just like, okay, this ain't the season I want to be in. Exactly. And when you made that comment that time about knowing the season in your marriage, I think that's so important.
Absolutely. I feel like there are different seasons in marriage, just like we see seasons in nature. In the springtime, that's the time for new ideas. And there are times, my husband is a very busy man, and so there are times when I'm not seeing him as much as I would like to. But I've learned how to understand what season we're in. And I'm not the type of wife to be like, well, you're never home, you don't have time, or you just. I'm like, babe, you do your thing. Okay, I got the home front down. You hold it down in the streets, or whatever you need to do out there to be a provider. And when he's working, he does not have to worry about his kids, who's going to pick his kids up, what are his kids going to eat, because I'm holding that down for him. But there was a time when he was doing that for me. When I was getting my degrees, and I have 4 of them, and through all of them, he supported me through getting my degrees, where he would work his full-time job, and then he would come home from work and get our daughter so that I could go to school. Right. And so now it's the other way around. He's going to school.
And that's knowing your season.
Exactly. You have to know what season you're in, and you really have to roll with it. You have to know what to do in that season, because you know what to do in the wintertime. You go get a coat, you dress warm, you drink hot chocolate. Well, I do. But you know what to do in the wintertime. Right. And you know what to do in the summertime. And it's the same way in marriage. You have to know what to do according to what season your marriage is in.
What season you're in. And I think if we are more cognizant of that, the divorce rate might fall a little bit.
Amen, sister.
Amen.
I agree.
Amen. Amen. Well, there you have it. That's the gist of being married 14 years after meeting your husband after 4 months. That's amazing. I'm telling you, that's amazing. That's amazing. So we're going to wrap this up real quick. I want you to tell the audience what sets you apart in your industry that you're working.
Oh, wow. That's a good question. But I feel like knowing how to create a brand is my why sets me apart, first of all. Where I came from makes me different. But I feel like when I'm teaching people how to create a brand, I'm teaching them how to differentiate themselves from everybody else. So it's really important to be able to understand what sets you apart. So I thank you for that question. It's a really great question. The main thing that sets me apart is when I'm operating in my gifts, I have an understanding from the military, I have an understanding from ministry, and I have a business background. So all of that mixed together makes me very unique. I can penetrate into different realms when it comes to speaking and serving people. I can go into ministry arenas. I can preach or I can prophesy. And then I can go into military events and I can speak according to the theme of the military. I can speak to issues with veterans. And then I can go into business arenas.
And not forget the psychology part.
Right.
Yes, she ought to be in psychology too.
So I really bring all of that together and I use it to help my clients. And so one of the things that I'm super passionate about, the reason why I'm so passionate about branding is because branding really is taking who you are and packaging it up in a way that the world or the people who you're called to serve can identify that and say, I need that. I need her. I need him. And so because of that identity crisis that I had when I got out of the Navy, when I said I didn't know who I was without my uniform. And then when I found out who I was and that I could make money being who I am, it shifted my whole life. And so I wonder how many other women out there want to be able to be who they are and make money just being who you are.
That's right.
It doesn't even feel like work. It feels like fun.
That's right.
So because of that identity crisis and finding my gifts and finding myself, I love to help women to do the same thing.
That's right.
Find those gifts, be who you are, and make money doing it.
That's right. That's good. That's good. And last, what is a favorite quote that motivates you?
One of my favorite quotes is from Les Brown. He says, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started in order to be great.
Amen. Amen. Love it. Love it. Well, it has been such a pleasure interviewing.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my God. You're so amazing. Guys, I'm going to let Shonda tell you where you can find her.
Absolutely. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for inviting me. I've had a wonderful time talking to you today. You can find me on Facebook as Shonta Prince. You can just type my name in, SHONTA, Prince, like princess. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. My website right now is in the middle of a relaunch. I redesigned it to make it more efficient. But you can connect with me on Facebook. I'm on there. I'm doing live videos. I'm answering business questions about branding and business. I'm also on Instagram giving business tips on a daily basis. So connect with me on Facebook and Instagram. You can also email me at info@shontaprince.com.
Amazing. So there you have it. You know how to reach her. And I want to tie up this question. Is it appropriate for fathers to discuss the birds and the bees with their daughters? And I picked one comment from my supporters. I picked one that I thought was the best comment. And his answer was, I think the best answer is it depends. It depends on the child and the relationship that she has with her parents. Her father should be a contributor to the subject, if not the primary source. I think the birds and the bees is not a one-time conversation. The child should get a tailored and coordinated message for best results based off of her family structure. And that's how I felt as well. And I thought that's the best answer that's come in so far. So next time, if you want to chime in on our topics, feel free to always give us a call right here at 770-988-6461. And this has been such an amazing show today. Thank you again for coming out.
Thank you.
I really do. I thank all of you listeners and all of you viewers. And I just really want to leave you with this. We talked about earlier, broken. We as a humanity are broken. And I'm going to come from Psalms. I think it's Psalm 61. Well, 142 is what I was meditating on when I wrote this. But while God may not take away all our pain, we can rest in the peace that he provides.
Amen.
You know, David, Israel's second king, he wrote Psalms to express his anger and frustration to God. But David knew that God not only listened, he could also do something about his pain. And in Psalm 61, he does write that I call as my heart grows faint. You know, he led me to the rock that is higher than I. God was his refuge, the rock to which David ran to. So when we're in pain or come in contact with someone in pain, David's example is a good one to follow. We can head to the rock that is higher or lead someone there. While God may not take away all our pain, we can rest in the peace that he provides and the assurance that he hears our cry. Even though David felt abandoned by people at times, he repeatedly thanked God for his care for him. When he felt alone and abandoned, we too can have confidence in God and cast our anxiety anxiety on him, and because he cares for us.
Amen.
You know, prayer is important, for it is in prayer that we pour out our concerns to him, confident that in his time and wisdom he will respond. This confidence is at our concerns at the heart of Paul's challenge to the church at Philippi. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. The resulting peace is his gift to us, carrying us through as we await his answers to our needs. Are you facing a situation for which you need God's help? Go to the rock in prayer.
Amen.
And rest in his peace. I want to thank you again for listening today. Thank you for joining Candid Conversation with Coach Stacy. I thank my guests, you listeners, viewers. We will see you again next week right here on 108 Praise Radio, where we voice the gospel. We'll see you next week. Love you guys.